So this is probably your 37th video that you clicked on about how to get your ex back, and you're probably already sick and tired of hearing about the whole thing. Now I get it. A lot of advice out there says that you can reattract your ex by simply waiting a few days, playing hard to get for a while, sending a couple of scripted text messages, faking a bit of confidence and indifference, maybe even making an attempt at making your ex jealous, and that's it. Bam, your ex is in your arms, loving and lusting all over you. But the truth is, there's much more to getting an ex back than relying on simple fake behaviors or some tactics and tricks promoted in most other ex back videos. To actually get back with your ex and stay together in a healthy and fulfilling relationship, you've got to deeply improve yourself. Because it's not what you say or what you do that gets your ex back, it's about who you become that gets them back. So what you stand for, what you represent, what kind of values, and what kind of traits you embody. In other words, it's not about acting attractive that gets your ex back, it's about actually becoming attractive that gets them back. Now, becoming attractive, it may sound vague and abstract, but while emotionally difficult, it's actually quite simple. And all it boils down to is embodying 6 key principles, which I'll explain in this very video. Not only will they help you be more attractive, they will of course, as a result of that, also help you more smoothly rekindle your relationship so it actually will last for good, and it's actually going to be a fulfilling, healthy experience for both people. Now let's dive right into our first principle. You just have to tell your ex that you want them back. Whether it's through a call, a text, a letter, social media, in person, whatever. Whether it's been 1 week since the breakup or 10 years. Whether your ex told you they never want to see you again. Or maybe they left with like stark indifference or with tears running down their face. Whether you dumped them or they dumped you, it doesn't matter. If you haven't yet communicated and made it clear that you want them back, just fucking tell them. It's really that simple. Just tell your ex you're still interested, don't beat around the bush, don't make it a big deal, don't lose your center, and don't become spineless or act like some overcompensating jerk. Be authentic, be bold, and just say what's in your heart without expecting a specific answer in return. And as a result, of course, or in turn, without recoiling and retaliating and being bitter or mad or whatever, if once you express your interest, you are met with silence from your ex's side or just a straight up rejection. Now, if your ex is receptive and is enthusiastic, once you tell them how you miss them, love them, want them back, all that good stuff, you should invite them on a date and then jump to our principle number 5 in this video that's all about setting dates and executing dates. But if after you express your interest to your ex and your ex is unreceptive, cold, mean, vicious, or maybe they even blocked, ghosted, ignored, or rejected you, at that point end the conversation and move forward or even move on, and only give them another shot if they reach out first. If that happens, move, like I said before, to principle number 5. Now let's talk about principle number 2. Move on with your life, aka apply no contact. Now this means exactly what you think it does. You let your ex go and you don't contact them again for any fucking reason. You don't call them, you don't text them, you don't engage with their social media, you don't go to places where you might stumble upon them, you hide and throw away everything that reminds you of them, you distance yourself from mutual friends or your ex's family, or you cut them out of your life completely. And if you still live with your ex, you move out or you move them out. And if that's impossible, only talk to them if it's really important, and be sure to keep your conversations businesslike and to the point, and end them as soon as you make some sort of a mutually beneficial agreement or decision, or you come to some mutually beneficial solution. And take the same approach if you share kids, if you share pets, if you work together. generally speaking, the more physical and emotional distance you put between your ex and yourself, the more likely it is that you will raise their attraction, because attraction grows through space, and you need space right now to get your ex to miss you and eventually reach out. That's gonna happen once you give them enough space, because you will in turn increase their attraction for you. You are going to essentially generate more of it. So that's pretty much it for principle number 2. Now for principle number 3, invest in your relationship with yourself. So here are just some guidelines if you don't know where to start, okay? Get your sleep in order. Get quality sleep and get enough sleep. Have a healthy diet. Don't eat too much, junk food, processed food, fried food, stuff like that. Exercise regularly, even if it's just like going on a short walk every day. Essentially be fit. Don't be a slob. Don't be obese. Be clean and presentable. Double down on engaging with your hobbies and hanging out with friends and family. If you're overworked, try to take some time off. Then if you're still living with your parents and you have the means to move out, move out. If you don't have any responsibilities like studies, work, child rearing or something like that, go and get some. These are just some ideas that I've thrown at you. You should probably focus on all of them, but regardless, if you just focus a little bit on each one, you are probably going to feel way better about yourself. This is basically like self-care 101. But to just, up the ante a little bit. In this same vein of investing in yourself, I want you to also try out and experiment with modalities that help you calm down and help you manage your emotions better. So these are modalities like meditation, journaling, gratitude practices, yoga, and even therapy. Similarly, invest in your character. So nurture interesting hobbies and passions and opinions and desires that make you stand out from other potential mates your ex has available. And very importantly, find something more important, something more meaningful than your ex that you can care about, that will help you stop obsessing about them so much, if that's maybe one of the main issues for you, which I assume it is because you are watching this video. So what do you care about more than your ex that you can focus on now, that you can double down on? Maybe it's fighting for a cause you believe in, maybe it's being part of some movement, excelling in your career, mastering a certain skill, developing some healthy habit, taking care of other relationships in your life, maybe friendships or familial relationships, who knows? And of course, also try dating. Yes, this is also one part of self-care 101 that you should be doing. I know you want to get your ex back, but you should be dating right now, not only to get your mind off your ex, but to also see and prove to yourself that you can probably find someone better or someone equally suitable for you when it comes to, like, compared to your ex, that you can find someone like that, maybe not with ease, but eventually. And especially, go and date if it starts to feel at least a little bit fun or exciting. Like, that's kind of, it's a sign that tells you you should probably be out there meeting other people. So that's pretty much it for the investment in yourself part. Let's go to principle number 4. Lots of people are gonna hate this one. I want you to really think, okay? Really think about it. Whether getting back with your ex, like officially, as in a committed relationship, is even a good idea. So ask yourself, first of all, for example, you can kind of play around with this. You can maybe even, this is why ChatGPT is really useful for these kinds of brainstorming sessions and discussions. So just think about, why do you want your ex back? Do you want them back because you're afraid of being single? Because you're lonely, miserable, and you can't imagine being happy without them? Or because you think you'll never find anyone better? If any of this is the case, if you have any of these sorts of limiting, really dumb, irrational beliefs, honestly, and I say this in the most respectful fucking way as I can, I had the same beliefs when I was trying to get my ex back years ago, okay? It's nothing special. Almost everyone has these beliefs, but the point is, they are limiting, and they're usually, 99% of the time, unrealistic and just false. So, if you have any of them, you're probably not in the right headspace to get back with your ex. So I would focus on breakup recovery, that is healing and growing from your breakup, first, before really giving your relationship another shot, as in, to be fair, a committed relationship. You can date your ex casually if that's what you kind of want. And even then, I would say that in this case, if this is like your mentality full of limiting beliefs, don't do it. But sure, there's a little bit more leeway there when you're just dating them casually. But anyway, to get back to the point, if you are happy with yourself, you are unattached to whether or not you get your ex back, and, well, you don't have these limiting beliefs and this limiting mindset of my ex is the only one, they're my soulmate, I'm never gonna find anyone better, that's great. Then you should continue by asking yourself 3 more additional questions and just really thinking about your answer here. So, number 1, were you and your ex compatible in values, in beliefs, and in your goals and worldviews? Number 2, do you know why you broke up? And are you both prepared to work on those issues to avoid another breakup? And of course, number 3, are you and your ex both emotionally, spiritually, mentally healthy, and you don't have any major toxic tendencies? Yes, we can definitely unpack them, and everyone defines toxic tendencies differently, and everyone has different, standards when it comes to compatibility. Some people, they just are way better at making compromises, and some people aren't. So this is very subjective, but I want you to, at least for a start, play around with it, okay? Play around with these questions, really think about the answers. And the point is, if your answers to these questions are anything along the lines of, we're both healthy individuals, we have little to no toxic tendencies, we are compatible, and we both know why we broke up, and we are prepared, or at least we are willing to try mending the relationship and avoiding the mistakes that we've made. So we are committed to not repeating them. Like, if those are your answers once you really think about these questions, you are qualified in my book to pursue reconciliation. But of course, if your answers are very different, if they are contrasting to what I just mentioned, you should probably move on, or at least, have a very casual friends with benefits like relationship with your ex. I know, not what you want to hear, but this is how I feel things should be done. So fuck it. Anyhow, moving on to principle number 5. Set a date if your ex reaches out or is receptive. So suppose your ex reached out during no contact, and they're not interested in discussing logistics, but are just curious about you as a person. Well, that's a clear sign of interest, and you should leverage it by setting a date. And of course, I would do the same thing if, like in principle 1, when we talked about expressing interest, you expressed your interest and your ex was receptive, and you can see that they are willing to give your relationship another shot, even if that means just dating casually, right? So if any of that is the case, yes, setting a definite date is going to be number 1 priority. How do you do it? Well, first of all, you should engage in a short conversation, maybe 3 to 5 text messages or a 5-minute phone call, and then you ask them out. Now, after you invite them out, you will get one of 3 responses. They will either commit to the date, they will either reject the date, or they will give you some wishy-washy bullshit answer like, I have to check my schedule, I don't know, I'll call you back, and then they never do. I want you to treat this third response exactly like a rejection, because it genuinely is a rejection, and you should move on when you arrive at it, right? The same as what you should do when you get rejected, you should move on. Yes, this doesn't mean you simply just close the doors on your ex forever. It just means you should end the conversation, and you should only give them another shot when they reach out first again, and then you try to set a date yet again. And even if they reject you then, so if they reject you 2 consecutive times, or maybe 3, depending on how lenient you are with these, or how strict you are with these things, if, let's say, they reject you 2 consecutive times, so 2 times in a row, you should only invite them out again if they reach out first, if they actually start talking about meeting up with you on a date. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So finally, let's go to principle number 6. Getting back together and actually staying together. Very important principle. A lot of people skip it because they're just interested in how they can get that quick win, that first date with their ex. But believe me, this one is worth keeping in mind. So once you've gone on a couple of dates with your ex and things are getting way more serious between you, so more intimacy, more personal conversations, more verbal exchanges of love, well, at that point, recommitment is kind of the next step, and it becomes a very critical one. So here's how I like to go about it. If your ex brings up the topic of getting back together, have the talk and make a fucking decision. And if they don't bring it up, but you're clearly acting like a couple, just bring it up yourself. And if they don't want to recommit, that's fine. Respect their decision and move on based on your values and your boundaries. So if you're prepared to keep casually dating them, okay, keep casually dating them. If you are just looking for maybe like an open relationship or something, do that. If you're not ready, or if you're not willing, would be a better way to put it, to just casually continue dating your ex, and obviously they don't want to recommit officially, then you should probably move on for good and find someone else who can give you what you actually want. Again, this is very subjective. The conclusion is going to be different for many people because all of us are a little bit different and we have different desires or needs when it comes to relationships. So again, I'm going to give you the freedom to choose how to move forward in this case on your terms. Just remember, if there's like one lesson you should take away from this video, is what I talked about in the beginning, about being attractive, not just acting attractive. This is so important because relationships, they don't end because two people did something wrong to each other. They end because two people usually are something wrong for each other. So both people have to fundamentally change in order to fix their relationship, to mend things. Yes, sometimes it's only you who has to change, for example, but most of the time, it's both people, and there's just no other way around it. So that's pretty much it from my side. It was a long video, hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to go deeper into my process for getting an ex back, into my philosophy, deeper into all of these principles that I've outlined here, you should download my free reattraction cheat sheet. It's available in the link in the description below this video. Just give that a click if you want to learn more about this stuff, and well, that's pretty much it. Take care.